I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Could we have a roll call of the board?
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here. Here, we do have a quorum tonight, and we also note that we have our township attorney present tonight. With that, the next item is the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda tonight?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion, we do have support. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Okay, we'll go into the public comment period. This is for agenda-related items. Before we go into that, this public comment period is to receive public comments. It's not a Q&A, it's to receive your comments. Anybody who has questions, we will write the questions down. After the call to the public, if we have an available answer, we'll answer. If it's a question that requires research, because we've learned by experience, we don't answer from shooting from the hip. That gets us all in trouble. But if it's something that I have to respond to at a later time, make sure that the recording secretary has your name and a means of connecting with you. You have 3 minutes for call to the public, so at this time, I will open the call to the public for any agenda-related item, after I take care of some paperwork. Okay, yes, sir. Name and address, if you would, please.
Yeah, Matt Ruprecht, 13799 12 Mile Road. I'm here today opposed to the Dove Lake PUD, and I'm imploring you to deny approval of this development. I oppose this development despite threats from the developer, Tom Schroeder, who told me that he will block my access to our community boat ramp if I oppose it. Yet this is so critical to me and my family, I wanted to speak up. This extreme cluster in this PUD is not the vision that I was sold when I purchased on this lake, and the very narrow lot widths are significantly different from the rural community I intended to join. It creates an unsafe environment for Dove Lake. The Planning Commission has personally witnessed how Tom has kind of used these bait and switch tactics, like when he tried to switch the lot coverage from 40 to 25. It'd be troubling for me to see this type of behavior get approved. As Tom pursues this PUD, he leaves a trail of issues with his last phase of development. Starting with this community boat ramp, Tom promised each current boat owner that he would promptly build a permanent boat ramp from our community. Now that he's indicated that basically he'll only be providing a ramp to those who are nice to him and support this PUD. Otherwise, he'll block our access to our temporary ramp. Tom never turned over an HOA to the residents. This was discussed during the May 2025 planning meeting, and no real progress has been made, despite legal outreach from our attorney, and I fear that if approved today, it'll only get worse. I'm concerned about the community sewer of this development. 37 houses on one septic field, which will be very close to my house, is not something I expected when I built in a rural community. This development has significant key person risk. Tom Schroeder is everything to this project. If something were to happen to him, there will likely be significant issues, and this worries me, especially with things like a large community septic. Lastly, Tom explicitly promised the homeowners on 12 Mile Road that if he developed on that part of the lake, he would create an access road for us, kind of connecting us to this new development, which is not kind of a part of the final plan. And I'm not asking any questions of you, but I would welcome the opportunity to answer any questions that you may have. And I welcome the opportunity to come back up here if Tom seeks to discredit any of the statements that I've made here today. And I did provide a copy of what I just said.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, hand it over to the recording secretary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the board tonight?
Good evening. My name's Lori Fleisner. My address is 27035 North Dixboro Road, Green Oak Township. I just wanted to say thank you for allowing us a chance to speak. I'm here tonight as a neighbor and resident asking you to deny this PUD. This builder has already shown us who he is. The current residents were promised since 2019 a proper boat launch, jet skis, and a functioning HOA. To this day, neither has been provided. These weren't extras or luxuries, they were commitments. And when a builder fails to honor commitments to the families already living here, why would we believe he would suddenly keep his promises with a much larger, denser development? He has shown limited interest in ensuring the PUD has the ability for generators or any of the new residents' needs or safeties. He has already tried to increase the size of the homes to gain more dollars and only backed down because he realized it would be denied. Who will monitor this and the house sizes he has already promised these potential buyers? Now we are being told by Mr. Schroeder, as Matt indicated, that unless the PUD is approved, those same promises may never be fulfilled. That feels less like a development and more like an intimidation. Our community should never be forced into a corner, sacrificing our safety and quality of life just to get the things we were already owed. He also advised us that he changed the deed restrictions to eliminate jet skis due to the nationality of one of our neighbors. This is totally unacceptable, illegal, and racist. The density being proposed is simply too much. More homes packed in means more traffic on our small roads, more strains on our schools and emergency services, and more risks in the places where our children should feel safe. And without a proper HOA, all the responsibility for maintaining shared spaces will eventually land on the township and on us, the taxpayers. This is not fair, and it's not the kind of growth our community deserves. He advised that many of us signed an acknowledgement of the PUD, but as we have explained before, this is not a consent. It was not the development plan he showed us. This was a bait and switch document at closing that was not consensual. We are not against growth, we are against reckless growth that puts all the burdens on the residents while rewarding a builder who has already broken his word. This is our home, our neighborhood, and our future, and it's worth protecting. I urge you to stand with the families who live here, not the developer that threatens us. Please deny this PUD.
Thank you. Anyone else tonight wishing to address the board? Thank you.
Ronnie Plazinski, 13835 12 Mile Road. I'm here today to urge you to deny final PUD approval for Phase 2 of Dove Lake. I purchased into the community in October of 2024, so this is all new to me. When my wife and I were looking at the community, we were showered with information from Tom through our realtor. The seller just so happened to be Tom's son, Aaron. When asking Aaron about the lake, he mentioned development on the other side of the lake, but that it would be similar to Phase 1. He mentioned that there would be no motorized boats, that there would be a paved easement access for those of us on 12 Mile, pickleball courts, and that there's general excitement for everybody. When asked about a boat launch, he said that currently a boat launch would be put in, but we could use his dad's land and that was no problem. The first time this was called into question when I received an email from Tom about the new development. I quickly expressed my concern over lake density and ruining the ability to use the lake. He stated this was modeled over his hidden lake development and I should not be worried. I quickly reached out to my neighbors to get more information, and I was brought up to speed, and I found that some false promises were made. So I decided to look into the new development myself, and to my surprise, I saw that there was an all-sports lake tag with this cluster development that was not explained to me when buying. I raised this concern with the first meeting I attended. When I got home, I received a text from the seller's son stating that I knew all this. Well, no, I did not. I felt lied to, and my wife and I both felt bullied. Along with what else has been said, this shows an inherent lack of transparency and follow-through. The HOA, have you seen, Michael, has been discussed at length, and I would not want one normally, but I have spent money for legal counsel because I'm concerned and have no trust that Tom will not continue to manipulate lake rules to meet his agenda. As we've talked about, this lake has a cluster approval with an allowance for houses to be already closer together than what would be normally allowed. He has continued to push for more with no regards to lake preservation, lake density, and lake safety. My wife is 27 weeks pregnant, and we're all also talking about how concerned we are for safety for our child. I understand the lake is not your guys' main concern, but if the cluster is approved, preservation and safety will show not to be a priority. I'm not against developing the land. I'm just against the proposed plan and specifically the density. If past performance is indicative of future performance, attention to detail is not the builder's priority. This puts our lake at risk, our investment at risk, and our safety at risk. So I plead with the board to follow the recommendation of denial from the Township Committee and push for, as we do, just a more reasonable plan. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Kayla Dorsey, 27203 North Dixboro Road, Southline. So good evening, members. My name is Kayla, obviously, and here I wanted to speak to you as a resident of the Dove Lake community, but more importantly, as a parent and as a new parent. We have a 10-month-old, just like our neighbors are also having a baby. Our concerns more lie on the safety. So our greatest concern is lake overcrowding. So Dove Lake is approximately 50 surface acres. So it's a small lake. We currently have 11 lake access lots, majority with various different types of boats. And I wanted to share just in the spect of studies that show that were done in Michigan, on lakes in Michigan, like Gull, Pine, Sherman, and Upper Crooked, that they recommended from that study 10 to 15 acres per watercraft. There's also a lovely study done by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, lake density, suggesting 15 to 20 acres per boat. And this is for safe recreational use. So we have an all-sports lake. This is an all-sports lake. To put 37 more homes that have boats or have access, allowing docks to extend into the lake, really does call for safety concerns for the lake. As new parents, our concerns are deeply rooted in the safety of our children. Dove Lake is a place to enjoy. We don't want to have to worry about the safety with these new homes being in. Unlike roads, lake cannot be widened to accommodate more traffic. Overcrowding on the water leads to safety risks, environmental strain, and a loss of the natural character that makes Dove Lake so special. We respectfully urge the board to reconsider the current plan. While we understand that there is a need for growth, the density plan raises a serious concern for us. We would really like to extend that you guys think about a more balanced approach that would best serve the community, our current residents, and also preserving the integrity of the lake for future generations. We do thank you for your time, and thank you for the consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the Township Board at the first call to the public on any agenda-related items? Seeing no response at this time, we will close the first public comment period. And we will move on to the consent agenda. You have the approval of the August 20, 2025 regular board meeting minutes and the approval of the submitted bills list in the amount of $278,482.03. Any questions, clarifications?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion, we have support, discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Okay, we'll go into department head reports and requests. Chief, do you have anything other than agenda-related items?
Just briefly. I just wanted to report to the board that 2 of our probationary firefighters, Connor Basil and Vanya Joseph, both successfully passed their fire academy and are now certified state firefighters. So we're happy to have them on board and working calls.
Congratulations, good. Okay, treasurer's report. Trish, do we have anything tonight? You're a little busy right
A
now.
little busy right now. Haven't even finished tax collection for summer, and we're already starting winter prep, so we've got a lot of juggling going on right now in the office, so we're just really busy, and yeah, that's all I can say.
Okay. Michael, clerk's report.
So we're continuing to prepare for the November election. We'll be mailing out ballots in late September for the residents within the South Lyon and the Whitmore Lake school districts. Again, we will be holding early voting here at the Township Hall for the 9 days prior to it. In addition to that, I'd like to report to the board that I have negotiated a new trash pickup for the entire, all the municipal buildings in the township, with savings anywhere from a 50% reduction, some of them down to less than 50% of what we were paying before. It's with a local company that we have an established relationship with, and that we'll be not stuck with these multi-year automatic renewing contracts like we were with the previous company that took me 6 years to extricate ourselves from the contracts. So it's substantial savings for the township in that regard. And you'll see later on in the agenda, we've completed the L4029s for the township. It should be noted, and I think this is good to put in the record, for the residents, when they see the tax bills of their total millage that they pay out for schools, county, state, and everything else, 8.651 goes to the township. So less than 25% of total tax bills for the 3 school districts are for Green Oak Township. And I think that's important to note. Although we really do, because all but the 1 millage for the township general is taxpayer supported and taxpayer voted. So we really appreciate the taxpayers supporting police and fire and roads in the township. That's it for the clerk's report.
Okay. Supervisor's report. Since the last 2 weeks, I wouldn't even know where to begin. It's been an interesting few weeks, but just a couple items. And I know I'm probably going to jinx us, but we've made the large investment in the new blowers up at the sewer treatment plant. They are online. They are working good. We've already noticed that the total nitrogen levels have come way down, well within permit parameters, so that's good. Odor control scrubber is operational, working, and I got an email today from Hidden Lake Homeowners Association that congratulations that they have not been privileged of any of the odors from the sewer treatment plant for the last 2 months. So we're on the right track. So, I didn't want to bring that up because Murphy's Law, but it is what it is. Some may notice on our Fieldcrest Trail, just north of Carmel Drive, about a quarter mile north of that, there's a cone sitting on the trail. Yesterday, a resident came in with some pictures showing what I would call a sinkhole on the side of the trail. And Brian went up there and he had to put about a wheelbarrow worth of gravel down in that hole. But it's adjacent to a county culvert underneath Fieldcrest. So Don was able to meet me down there today, and we took one look at the culvert, or he did, down on his hands and knees, and the culvert that goes from US 23 underneath Fieldcrest to the wetlands is rotted out. And so that presents a problem. Obviously, it's got to be fixed. But just like that large culvert that's up along Silver Lake Road near Silver Fox, that's a culvert that's supposed to be replaced under Silver Lake Road, but they can't shut Silver Lake Road down because Silver Lake Road is a detour route. So that's on borrowed time too. We got the same situation up here in Fieldcrest. Fieldcrest is a detour route. So we're looking at the possibility of that being lined instead of replaced. So again, that's why that cone is setting up there if anybody wants to.
If there's any risk of further danger to that trail?
Well, it's all going to depend on the rainfall. Well, if you go up there and you look, and you stand out there, even Don today looked at that, and we've got an 18-inch culvert approximately that goes underneath Fieldcrest. The culvert coming off, the new culvert coming off I-96 is, if I had to guess, about 36 or 40 inches in diameter. So that whole ditch area is really the water storage area from US 23. And with that pipe rotted out, that's a lot of water going down underneath there. So this has become urgent as of today. So there's that, and another one, this is gonna make Trish really happy. For 24 4 years, I have worked with the homeowners association of Oakwood Meadows. They need to pave their roads. For 24 years, they've been trying to get an SAD going. They finally got enough support, so today, they got their petitions. So,
Pretty excited.
yeah, I think we'll
Me
see
too.
another SAD for Trish. So, other than that, there's a lot of small stuff, but it's been busy lately, so. That's the supervisor's report tonight. With that, we'll go on to correspondence. Is there any correspondence tonight, Michael?
I sent all the correspondence I received out to the board.
Okay. Okay, business items. First item, Fire Department DNR Mutual Aid Agreement.
Hello. The first one is the easy one. We have a mutual aid agreement that we sign every 5 years with the DNR. This allows us to call the DNR if we have a significant wildland fire, or them to call us if vice versa. We've used it twice in our history, but nonetheless, it might happen. And so that's something. It also allows us to participate in the excess federal equipment program, where if they have something in excess federal surplus equipment that we need, we can get it. We don't do that very often, but every once in a while something comes up, we keep a watch on it. So this allows us to jump in if we need to. No cost to it, no problem, the state just signs with us, so we just need to renew it every 5 years, and 5 years are up.
Okay, who's required to sign this?
You and I.
You and I? Okay. Again, I look at this as a reassuring, I hate to use the word, term no-brainer, but it makes sense to continue in the mutual aid agreements.
I agree. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the mutual aid agreement between Green Oak Charter Township Fire and the DNR per the memorandum provided by Kevin, August 27th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, as part of your motion to direct the supervisor and the chief to sign it.
Sign the mutual aid agreement. Thank you.
Okay? Agreeable to the supporter?
Yep.
With that, any comments or questions on the motion? Roll call, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes.
Thank you, I'll bring a clean copy by tomorrow.
Okay, now we get to the more difficult one.
Now you get to a more difficult one. Rescue 82 is the rescue truck that works out of the Grand River Station. Several months ago, it coughed up a fuel pump. Normally not a big deal. Rescue 82 is a 2006 GMC W5500. It was the only year they built that style. And while most of those had side saddle tanks, this one has a rear mount fuel pump tank. And Delco stopped making the part in 2021. You can't find it anywhere. The clerk and trustee Brake found a possibility online that we've gone ahead and purchased for a couple $100s to give it a try. But the reality, and it's not here yet, so we don't know if it works. But the reality is that it's not the only part. This truck is an orphan. The alternator, the fuel lines, which we would need, we still haven't found the fuel lines, which we would need to change the fuel pump out. It's an orphan. It's 19 years old. It looks great. We've done a great job maintaining it, aluminum body, doesn't rust, but it's an orphan. And that's a real problem for us because we can't fix it anymore. There's 3 ways that I looked at to deal with this, besides just doing nothing. Right now, doing nothing means we have a brush truck with a bunch of medical gear pushed into it at Station 82 in the place of Rescue 82. We've jammed the jaws and cutters for extrication equipment into Engine 82, and there's a whole lot of equipment we just aren't delivering. It's sitting in storage. So that's not a great option. We could buy a new truck. Unadilla bought one that looked just like what we would do for $300,000, and it would take 2.5 years to get here. My vote is not do that. We could re-chassis this truck like we're doing with Rescue 80. We talked to CSI in Grayling and take the box, which is aluminum and in good shape, take it off and put it on a new chassis. That takes about 6 months and costs $213,000. Still not a great idea. Best idea that I could come up with is Putnam actually has a 2020 F-350 rescue truck, which would do the job. It would need our mechanic to make a few modifications, but it would do the job, and it's for sale. It has 10,000 miles and 771 engine hours on it. In other words, it's been babied and barely used. They bought it to use it as a paid-on-call medical response vehicle. Then they switched to a full-time staffing model using an engine out first, and as a result, the truck hasn't been used much at all. They would like to get rid of it, and they would like the garage space back. They are selling it for $195,000. I negotiated $150,000 if we bought it. It's listed for $195,000. The ad's in there, but I negotiated down with talking about the commissions they would have to pay to the online person, local municipalities. We're in the same mutual aid association, et cetera, et cetera. And they will sell it for, they will part with it for $150,000 with the delivery of approximately 9 a.m. tomorrow if the board approves. So they really want the garage space. They have a truck parked outside because of this. So they want it out of the garage. They want to get rid of it. They've had it on the market for about 3 weeks, and it's not selling at $195,000, so they're willing to take $150,000 and walk away, which is, I think, the best thing that we can come up with here. Now, our capital reserve approved by the voters with the bond has $600 and change in it. And $150,000, while a hit and an unbudgeted one, this was not something we thought was going to happen. Normally, when a fuel pump breaks, we fix it. But $150,000 out of $600 still leaves us with a substantial reserve fund that we will build on again next year and stuff like that. We do have one truck that we're looking at in the future, engine 80s replacement, that I'll be coming to the board with and sometime in the next couple months. But the reality is that truck is 3 years out, and so is paying for it, which means we should be able to build up our reserve fund to be able to pay for it when it arrives. So we're gonna be in a position where we're not gonna be upside down, and really, we're gonna be able to buy engine 80s replacement if we want with cash as opposed to financing. That's gonna be a question for the board as to, what kind of deal we get and stuff like that. But it's a possibility, and this will not hurt us in regards to replacing engine 80 on schedule. So that's why $150,000 sounds a whole lot better than $200,000 or $300,000. Besides the fact it's just less money, is that we can do this out of our capital reserve without handicapping us for our scheduled truck replacements. So that's the answer that I came up with here. It's going to cost $6,000 or so to recolor it. Putnam has white fire trucks. We have red. And it's going to need, you can see the pictures of it. It says Rescue 50 all over it. We'll have to change that a little bit, put some green oak stickers on it and stuff like that. That's $6,000. We're going to wrap it, not paint it. Painting it would cost like 3 times that. And as you know, with the paint problems we've had with all the other trucks, because they don't dip fire trucks and because of what the EPA has done with paint, it tends to go bad. Wrapping it, we can wrap it several times without spending as much as we would spend to paint it once. So that's pretty much the plan. If the part that the clerk and trustee break found works, we will sell Rescue 82 as a running unit for whatever we can get out of it, which I'm guessing would be $5,000. The market is glutted with 20-year-old rescue trucks. If we can't get it running, we'll sell it for scrap, which I'm guessing is about $2,000. There is some interest from one of our mechanic vendors in the engine, so we might be able to part that this way and scrap the body. I don't know, but if it's not running, it's not going to be very good. So I appreciate the clerk and trustee break finding the potential of a part and seeing if we can make it work. Because if it's running, we can get double the value out of it. But the reality is this truck, at 19 years old, while it looks very good, even if we were to spend the money, and the mechanic could, our mechanic could actually, in about 40 to 80 hours, at about $10,000, he could fix this problem for us. But dumping $10,000 into a truck that we're not going to be able to find an alternator for, or a brake cylinder for, or whatever for next time, is just not a real good idea. So my recommendation is that we be authorized to dispose of Rescue 82, the current vehicle, for the best price we can come up with, and to purchase the used 220 F-350 from Putnam, authorized for $150,000 for the purchase and $6,000 for the outfitting. And I'm happy to take questions on all of this. I know I've talked to several of you ahead of time, but.
Michael?
So, when we heard about the fuel pump, we started looking online, especially when Chief said that they couldn't find it. And initially, Trustee Brake found one, but he went to order it. Of course, they didn't have it on the shelf. So this time before we went to the chief and discussed it with him, let's get our hands on it. Is it there? Can it be ordered? And once we determined that it was there and it was a superseded part to it, it's worth the $236 risk to get the truck running, rather than at a non-running state. And he is correct in that the truck's a morphodite. GM stopped production of that truck the year after we bought it. So it's, unfortunately, we had no idea that that was going to happen when we spec'd that truck out in 2006. And fortunately, we haven't had that kind of repairs. So I absolutely concur with the chief's plan on how he goes about doing it. And then as far as selling the truck, and this thought just came to me, the same site that we sell the police cars on,
Yes,
we could try putting it there.
Exactly.
And we don't have to take the bid.
correct.
So that would be a
And
thought as well.
it's got a good service body on it. It has a winch on it. It's got tow hooks. It might be useful for somebody as a mechanic or some other kind of service truck or something like that. Somebody might find value in it. But as an emergency response vehicle, no. And in reality, if they find value in it, they probably, hopefully not watching TV, they probably didn't do their homework because it's going to be problematic.
Well, as I have found out, as I'm currently working on a 20-year-old wood chipper that was given to me, which I brought down to the township for us to use, trying to find parts for that is like pulling teeth out of a lot of sharks. It's, you know, you got a good running engine, good running chipper, trying to find a carburetor for it, I cannot find. And I've spent my whole life in heavy equipment, and this is the first time I've had to say, I can't. So I know what it's like to try to find 20-year-old replacement parts. It's difficult, so I agree with this proposal. I just, again, I have to emphasize that you need it, we need to expense it out of your capital, but then we have to really watch the next couple of years because we got to build that fund
Yeah.
balance up, so.
I will give the board the spoiler alert on Engine 80. Engine 80 with a commercial cab, not a custom cab, but with a commercial Freightliner cab, on the current market is going to cost us $1 million.
How much?
Yeah, I know. Our last truck cost us around 8. It's now up over $1 million,
a
and that's for a
custom.
commercial cab. Yeah. Yeah, fire trucks have gone, there are basically, hedge funds have bought up, private equity have bought up all the fire truck manufacturers. There are, whatever names you call them, about 3 left. And kind of like Microsoft and Apple, they can do what they want. So they do. It's really bad. They blame COVID, they blame tariffs, they blame part supplies, but the reality is fire trucks have increased at about 20% a year for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, I'll be bringing to the board $1 million in 3 years. We'll have 500 right now after we spend this 150. We'll be able to build up to that point, and then we'll decide, because there is a thought that we should finance even though we have money. Years ago, when we bought Engine 82, we bought it for cash, and then the treasurer had to loan us money to get to the end of the year, which is never fun for anybody. So if we can get good financing terms, we may still finance Engine 80, but it'll be nice to know we have 7 figures in the bank by the time Engine 80 comes.
Okay, well, I certainly agree with, you know, if Doug is successful in getting the pump in and it running, you.
Out the door right
Whether it
away.
be a couple $1,000 or $5,000, whatever it be, above and beyond what you're gonna get for scrap.
Yeah.
You know, running vehicle is much more valuable than
Yep.
a non-running vehicle, so it makes sense to try to go that route too, so.
We'll shine it up and get it out the door as quickly as we can.
Any other questions from the board members?
Just out of curiosity, how often was Rescue 82 on the road?
Rescue 82 responds right now around once a day. So it's a paid call truck. It's not staffed with full-time people, but we average right now, we're running about 7 or 8 calls a day. So it usually would run between 1 and 3 calls a day, depending on the paid call staffing.
How many miles are on it?
It has
33 or 4?
33 and change.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not got a ton of miles on it because obviously it's not like one of our duty trucks that goes around and does things all day. It sits in the station, it drives 6 miles or less to a call, it drives 6 miles or less back from a call. One of the other important things it does, and this is why we need a big truck up there, we're using the brush right now, is it pulls our gator trailer, which does roll a couple times a month for state park calls, for farm calls, for things like that. So we need to have at least the 350 to pull that truck. Right now, we have Rescue 80, which is a duty truck that's going to go in for re-chassis. We have the brush truck, and we have the mechanic's truck. Those are the only trucks big enough to pull that gator trailer right now.
With the minor things that need to be done to this truck, how long before it's up and running as Rescue 82?
Within a month, maybe less, probably less. As long as nothing else breaks and the mechanic can focus his attention on this, it's not going to be long.
Okay. What's the wishes of the board?
I'd make the motion to approve the purchase of the Putnam Fire Department 2020 F-350 rescue truck at a total cost of $150,000 plus the $6,000 to get the truck ready for service by wrapping.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion, we have support, discussion on the motion?
Do it.
Hearing no discussion, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chief, let's go ahead and get it executed.
Hopefully, by the time we come back at the start of next month, I'll be able to report an department head that is taking calls.
Okay.
Is it going to be all red, or are you going to do white top like our current larger trucks?
It's going to probably be red with a white top, but a lot depends on the economics.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, 2-color wrap, more than 1-color wrap. So we'll
but
see.
it's white now.
Yeah, it's white now, so we can just wrap around it and should be okay. But I haven't driven it to the wrap people, I just got the quote for it.
Okay.
So, okay, thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Green Heritage Farms.
Nope.
No,
2025.
excuse me. Yep. I'm going by the agenda here on the computer. All right. 2025 Township L 4029 millage rates. Michael.
This is just a formal approval of those millage rates. I have already sent them to the county, and we've adjusted them all for the Headley rollbacks. So we've approved the resolution last fall for the taxation rates. So this is just a formal approval by the board to submit this to the county and direct the supervisor and myself to sign it.
This is a housekeeping item, right?
Yes, yes.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
My only comment is I see where the expiration of the road it went by so fast.
Yes.
15 years.
Can't believe it.
Look at all that we got accomplished in those
Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, that's just my 2 cents.
It still had a lot more to do if we had time and money.
Yeah.
Money is the issue when it comes to roads. Yes.
So I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 Township L429 millage rates.
Support.
And that to direct the supervisor and
Yes,
clerk
sorry,
to sign
to
it?
direct the supervisor and clerk to sign it.
Still support.
Okay.
With that, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes, motion passes.
I'll submit this to the county tomorrow.
Okay, with that, the next item definitely now is the Green Heritage Farms LLC request for partial release. Mr. Green, come on up and tell the board your request.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for providing this opportunity to me, and I trust that you have the memorandum from the Green Oak Charter Township Assessor's Office in front of you. And you also have received my request for relinquishment of an open space development rights easement for parcel 4716-29-200-026. Everybody have that?
Yep.
I'll be referring to those. Okay. What I thought I would do, since you've already seen my request and read the report, I wanted to address a few topics that are listed on the assessor's report, and I'll refer to it by page number so you can follow exactly what I'm saying. If you would like to look at page 1, the first paragraph, line 4, it says, I won't read the whole thing there, but specifically, the request seeks board authorization for a release under the premise of public interest with the intent of permitting the parcel to be sold on the open market at fair market value without the continuance of easement restrictions and without the imposition of any recapture tax obligation. We fully expected to have to repay the recapture tax obligation of 7 years plus interest at 6%. I just missed the different requirement for public interest designation as opposed to the numerous other places in the various subsections that I did my research on, and summaries of the law referred to the payback requirement. So that was my mistake. I didn't intend to do it. I didn't think there was any, I thought there would have to be an obligation, recapture tax obligation. Skipping down to first page, third paragraph, the local open space easement is a local unit level program designed to preserve farmland and open space. She doesn't say that, but by limiting development in exchange for property tax benefits. Such agreements operate as restrictive covenants that run with the land, binding on successors and assigns, and are permanent in nature, often structured in renewable 10-year increments. For clarification, a local open space easement is not a permanent program. It is, by law, set up to be renewable for 10-year increments. As noted, you can go to 90 years max. In item 7 of the easement, it states that, and in numerous subsections of the law, very clear. We have renewed the easement twice since the initial establishment in 2008. That initial board resolution recognized a start date of 1994, although we had actually been approved in 1983. And I found where we had initially asked back in 73, but we had definitely been approved in 83, and we recognized the start date of 1994. We did that in 2008. We've since renewed it twice. Okay, so it is not permanent, but needs to have renewals. Point number 3 that I'd like to address is on page 2, second paragraph, first bullet. The owners have actively marketed the property for sale at full market value, operating under the assumption that the Green Oak Township Board could modify the easement upon request and require repayment of only 7 years of recapture taxes, despite having received tax benefits for over 25 years. We have always assumed that the township has the option of recapturing 7 years of tax obligations, regardless of the number of years the assessment have been in place. The tax benefits are an integral part of the law from the beginning and were intended to provide an incentive to landowners to participate in the program. This has been available for anybody who wanted to use it. This is not a special thing that we did. Item number 4, next third bullet. The owners argue that the parcel does not contain natural or scenic resources, citing its historic use as hayfield and the presence of highway development. That was in my application. However, there is no evidence of new or expanded highway construction that would materially affect or alter the land's use or justify the termination. Our explanation on this particular point is there is extensive evidence of expanded highway construction. you've seen it all, every one of you, every day, that materially affects our ability to use this parcel of land for any use, even as a hayfield. It has been difficult, and I put this in my application, it has been difficult for years, several years, to move the tractors and farm equipment from the east side of US 23, where all of the family members live, and the barns where the hay and the equipment has been housed. With the recent highway construction and ongoing pattern alterations, it will be nearly impossible to navigate 3 traffic circles with tractors, equipment, and hay wagons. It's totally out of the question. And as I mentioned in here, we've had it lying fallow for a number of years because of the difficulty of getting around there to even get the hay from that field. Okay? My 5th point is on page 3, 2nd paragraph. First paragraph, no question, the statutory provisions allow for limited release of up to 2 acres. That's not me. Okay, the current request exceeds that, no question. I'm on paragraph 2. The only remaining criterion is whether release is in the public interest. The applicants originally represented that preserving the land from human touch was in the public interest. They now argue that the parcel lacks natural or scenic resources and is no longer viable for farming. This is inconsistent with their prior representations and lacks evidentiary support. I'd like to note that the original inclusion of this parcel in the 4-parcel LLSE, the local open space easement, as you are familiar, has 4 parcels in it on one easement. This particular parcel, the only portion of, then there's a long list of criteria which allow for the designation of open space. And some of the parcels have some another. But this parcel was strictly only answers the mail for the conservation of soils, meaning that it's kept in idle land, idle potential farmland, and to discourage, and this is a quote from the law, to discourage the premature and unnecessary conversion of open space land to more intensive use. We now feel that moderately priced residential housing, as planned in the master plan for this area, is appropriate for this parcel, as noted in our application. You've seen that. Per subsection 36-111A of the law, paragraph 2B of that act, this is a, quote, reasonable and prudent site alternative, and public interest is achieved. Item number 6 on the assessor's opinion, same page 3. 2nd paragraph. The LOSC agreement was originally executed in good faith by Norman and Helen Green. However, since the 2008 transfer to Green Heritage Farms LLC, the easement has not been administered as intended. Now, we object to the implication that Green Heritage Farms LLC has not acted in good faith. And to clarify, Norman and Helen Green, my parents and other members of the LLC, the members of the LLC happens to be my 2 brothers and 2 sisters and myself, created simply to hold this land primarily. We object to the implication of that paragraph that we have not acted in good faith. We feel that we have followed the letter and intent of the law throughout this process. There have been a few minor errors or oversights, but we have attempted to remedy every situation that has been presented to us. We apologize for any administration difficulties, going on to the next paragraph, administration difficulties of the easement process that we may have caused, but feel that unfamiliarity with the LOSC process at the state level, the county level, and the township level also contributed to the difficulties. Now, I don't think you'll get any discussion from Christina Yeager, the assessor, on that. She had trouble at all of those levels trying to find out information. Nobody apparently has used this LOSC process in the county. Going on to the next item, skipping down to the recommendation line, the assessor says, I recommend the board deny the request. Second paragraph in the last, or the second line in the last paragraph on page 3. If the board determines relief is appropriate, I recommend considering whether to terminate the easement in its entirety rather than granting a partial release to avoid future disputes and administrative burdens. And the last paragraph says, this recommendation does not leave property owners without viable conservation easement options. The Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, MDARD, has both the resources and the expertise to effectively administer such easements at the state level, thereby removing the administrative and financial burden from the local unit. My response to that is, and I'm sure she remembers this, but I'll refresh all of you. In 1994, the state of Michigan notified Green Oak Township that they would not enter into local easements, and they should be executed and administered by the local unit of government. I have a copy of their letter saying words to that effect. It says the state of Michigan does not enter into local easements. Consequently, I'm sending the application back to you and giving you a sample of an open space easement. So that's what we pursued at that point. Last point. On page 5, okay, she summarizes the background, the findings, her opinions that you've seen, and she gives 3 options for board request of action. She has 1, approve the request for partial termination without repayment of recapture tax. Point number 2, approve termination of entire easement, which would be all 4 parcels, this one that I'm asking for, plus the other 3 that we're not asking for termination on. And number 3, deny the request for partial termination. That's her recommendation. We believe the request for partial termination for this parcel should be approved, and we offer to work with the township to process the necessary paperwork. And I'll note also on the last paragraph of my application where I listed the public interest, which was a big issue in her report. The public interest, which we didn't necessarily state exactly the way she says, but we gave three points here, and the last one is that the remaining 3 parcels are contiguous to each other on the east side of US 23 and would remain as a group, a total 66.3 acres, and providing significant wetland resources. And if you've noticed the maps that I've provided in the past, we have primarily swampland in there. It's a few areas, there's a hayfield over there of 9 acres or so, and then a lot of swampland and a lot of non-buildable land. So that constitutes my response to that, and I would ask for your consideration, and I'll answer any questions you have that I can. Should you want me to call on Mark? Tracy has her hand. Do you want me to answer or what? Go ahead.
Do you have any direct conversation with the assessor before she rendered this opinion? I mean, the confusion on the taxes.
Absolutely not. I did not bother her at all. I didn't attempt to reach her.
My point was, did she come up with this report without reaching out to the source?
She did not talk to me. I didn't know what was going on. I submitted my request, and I waited for the response from the township, and I heard last week that I was on the agenda for today.
Okay.
That's all I got for communication.
So no, okay.
The answer is no.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I read this assessor's opinion as an argument against the partial request as well as the waiving the tax reimbursement. And
She included them both, yes.
correct. And you are saying that you are aware that you would have to pay the 7-year.
That was the thing that I missed, is that when you ask for it in the public interest, then there's a line at the end of one of the paragraphs that says if you do it in this nature for public interest reasons, then you don't have to repay the taxes. And I had always thought I had to repay the taxes regardless, because all the other documents I had kept referring to the 7 years back taxes. Sometimes they have a 6% interest as well, but at least the 7 years of the, you understand the tax differential between with the development rights easement and without. There's a differential that we've received the benefit of, which is intended.
Right.
And so I always thought we had to pay the 7 years, and I was expecting to. When she did this surprised me when I read it. I had to go back and research again, and I found exactly what she was talking about. She doesn't misquote anything in here, but I just didn't see that line of putting those two together.
So her assessment and recommendations are correct in their statement. If we waive it, because you requested it in a public interest, we're also waiving the back taxes. and
The way she has
interest.
it, but I will
Well,
mention, let me
but
say this about that. You have the option, because you have been presented with the local open space easement administration, and you can choose, as you are aware, you can choose not to assess any, because you'll recapture as soon as it's revised. But, yeah, the way it's written, the way she's written it, is that you, if you approve my request, because I asked in the public interest,
So she's correct.
that is correct. That's per the law, yes.
Okay,
I'm just saying I misinterpreted,
okay.
my mistake.
The question I have, Roland, is, and you know, you were here in January of 2024. Now, this is when this easement was entered into.
Right,
And your statement there, and I got it up there right now, over half the acreage is wetlands, the remainder is rolling clay terrain, wildlife, wooded coverage, grasslands, soils, shoreline, and wetland drainage would all benefit by a lack of human touch.
correct.
This will help maintain and preserve the township's rural character and improve access to the nature and the quality of life for current and future residents. That was your statement in 2024, 16 months ago.
Correct.
Now, your statement is that the public benefit would be by you guys selling the property and it being developed as R2 zoning. That's what changed.
What changed is that the parcel that we're talking about does not hit all these, as I explained. There's a number of, these were quoted from the law, okay? And so I used them as my rationale. And a lot of that is all of the other three parcels. This parcel has reasonable soil. It has flat land accessible for, and so reasonably you could say this maybe should not have been in originally, but it was because we took the entire farm property and combined it into one, which, like I said, there may have been some errors and miscalculations of thinking about stuff, but at the time, we took exactly, that had been added in prior to and had been included in that for some years. And so I used the same description for all the parcels. This one doesn't really fit the category in very many. The only one it does is it saves the land, it's open. We were using it for a hayfield, so it was, it could be used at that, but there's no farms on the west side of US 23 that could use it. We can't use it anymore. And so it's, what's changed, part of what's changed is we can't access the property anymore with the road changes. That was a big deal to us as far as getting over there.
And I'll speak to that because we were the ones cutting the hay primarily.
Towards the end, you cut
Yeah.
it. We used to cut it, but yeah.
We don't go on that side of the highway anymore. And where I also feel sympathetic is that is a plot of land just on an island on the other side of the highway from where your farm is.
It was
And I know
part of the
it's-
original farm.
It's part of the whole easement, right?
Yeah, it got put on the easement, yep.
I get that. I guess where I'm struggling with, and I brought this up in '24, and obviously, everybody knows my position on it, and at that time, I objected to it, and I voted no on this.
You did.
But it was not the intent. That's not right. What I did, I objected, but I didn't object to land being placed in a open space or farmland easement for preservation of open space and farmland. Don't get me wrong. I've never objected to that, and I've always thought that was a great idea. And if you restrict the land so that it's not developed, there should be a tax break. I get it. But what I objected that night about this land being put in there was that there was a for sale sign on that land, and you and I traded words that night about whether there was a sold sign on that property. Michael went and checked it out afterwards. So I'm struggling with, again, your original statement and your now statement, 16 months apart. I'm having trouble rationalizing that to the public. Why we offer a tax break for land that, quite frankly, you were intending to sell anyways. That, in my mind, defeats open space preservation. I look at open space preservation, farmland preservation as preserving it. Maybe we can argue about whether it's in perpetuity or 10 years, but certainly 16 months is not preservation in my mind. I'm struggling with that. And I also have an issue with the easements. I think now you can, at least all the paperwork I've seen, with respect to open space and farmland preservation, you can apply to the state. Maybe in '94 they said you can't, but it appears now you can.
Well, could I interject?
Yeah.
We did talk to the state person at this time, when I talked to Christina, when this was taking place in 23, 24.
Yeah.
And they shoved it right back to the town. They said it's a, quote, local open space easement. We do not process these. You can do farmland, and it's a different deal. They have actual tax credits that they buy and sell, and you have to calculate your farm income and so on and so forth. Different deal. But it says in here, well, they said at that time, and I don't have documentation, but we did contact the state again. We talked to the current people who are handling this, and they basically washed their hands, put it back to the local. And that's why Christina had a lot of work to do, because she says, I don't know anybody who's doing this. We don't have anybody in the county that does it. Nobody in Green Oak Township has done it. I don't know what to do. So she had to do a lot of research, and I'll grant you that. She's done a lot of work, the administration. But I don't think that we should be blamed for that, because, we only followed the law. I did exactly what I was asked, and that's what ended up last time was the ruling was that you've done your work and you've done it in accordance with the law, so how can we not give it? So
I get it, and I don't want to belay it and argue the point, but again, I read what it says on the applications in the law. And even though, again, the state of Michigan wants to throw it back on us, which, that's another conversation for another day. That's an unfunded illegal mandate as far as I'm concerned. But you hit it on the head. This is a lot of work to do for our assessor in a time where we have a lot going on, especially in assessing. So, it's counterproductive, and it's not counterproductive to spend the work and the time and the energy to preserve the land for a period of time in the future. We all can argue what that period of time is. For me, a lot of work went into this easement initially from Christina and the staff, and even me and Michael and everybody here, for 16 months of preservation.
Let me interrupt you there. This has been in since 1983, so you're talking about 42 years of preservation, not 16 months. The only reason I came in last year, you will recall, is that I had to remove the easement from every property that we had in order to make some minor, tiny adjustments on the parcels of land where we had encroachment of family owns property adjacent to one of the parcels back here on the east side. And in order to do this, Christina determined that everything had to be removed. Went to the law, as near as she could figure, you had to take off everything you had. So to do that, we removed the easement that had been in place, it had been renewed twice. I removed them at your request. We made the small boundary line changes so that somebody's drain field wasn't encroaching on an LLC-owned piece, or a driveway, or a garden. We made these minor adjustments, and after that, she said, well, you've been valued way too low. She raised the valuation. She redid all, I'm not blaming her. This is the order of things that happened. It necessitated a lot of extra work by us asking to make those boundary line changes, just to square up the property so that the parcels we had could at some future time be sold. We don't know when they're gonna be sold, we still don't know when they're gonna be sold. And one of the things that caused that was that you had to take off the easement and then put it back on again. And I was assured that we could do that. And it took a lot longer than we thought. And she ran into snags and problems, and I probably ran into some as well. We finally got it done, and that's why it was done in January. I mean, we could have sold this land years ago. We could have taken off the easement and sold it. So we've kept it in the easement for 42 years. So to say that it's only a year and a half is a little bit misleading. That is from that last one we did, but that was simply a renewal because of circumstances.
Yeah, and I'll stand a little bit corrected there. I agree with the original intent of what your parents did. I think that was noble what they did 42 years ago.
Preservation.
Yeah, the preservation,
Open
I agree.
space.
I'm talking about this change that's only been in place for the last year and a half.
Yeah, and the
What you
reason-
did before that, I agree.
And the reason that was, we lumped all four together because it was all part of the family farm. You could argue maybe that didn't have the scenic or the recreational or the long list of rationale for having open space. There's a lot of choices that you can do open space preservation for. That parcel was not the best fit, but it was part of the family farm. That's why it was grouped together. That's why we did four together, and that's why we went that way. So I mean, to say now we did it wrong or we shouldn't have, it's water under the bridge. I'm trying to remedy that now by taking that one out. The other stays in. I'm not asking to have anything else removed. It's preserved. And I told you when we did this a year in January, I said, we're hopeful that somebody will buy it because this does stay with the property. If somebody buys the property, they could leave it with the open space easement on it. But so far, anybody interested in the property, as soon as they find out there's an open space easement and it can't be rezoned, they said, why do I want it for? You know, they don't have, you know, we saved it as a family farm for years and years. You know, I can remember being a kid. Why save the property? Save it. It's great. Keep it open. And we've used it for recreational. We fish. We walk on the land. It's fine. But, you know, there was a lot of reasons why it happened the way it did, and I won't belabor it.
Yeah, I've taken a lot of time here looking for other board members.
So if, as it is presented to us right now, if we were to grant their request, would we also be granting the waiving?
Yes,
Of the-
because that's what the law says.
So I'm personally extremely sympathetic to removing this particular plot. And I think I'm hearing the argument that it's not a year and a half, and I think that's right. Like that is, I mean, it was a ton of work that occurred, but it was not that they re-entered into this with the intention of, they just wanted to put the easement back on that they already had. So I'm sympathetic to that. I am not sympathetic to waiving the tax burden, however.
Board members?
I'm along with Jim.
So,
I couldn't hear.
I'm along with Jim.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
so, part of it, and you said earlier, untouched by human hand, to have it in the easement. So that kind of takes the farming out of the equation on that piece of property, and therefore takes the inability to get the farming equipment over there. If it's untouched by human hand, it means you wouldn't farm it.
Well, no, the farmland, open space sort of go together, and if you read the documentation, not just what's in here, but
Okay.
I've read all of the paragraphs 36, 104 through 117, but the point is that farmland and open space basically go together, and when you said untouched by human hand, that basically means not developed. I mean, if farmland is assumed to be part of the thing. A lot of things are worded for farmland. Matter of fact, when you ask for the form that I submitted this on, you know, so I had to cross out the top word because they refer you right to the farmland partial termination, which, I'm sorry, it's part of the same.
Trying to look up the act online is interesting.
It goes, you can
Going
go,
on.
you can go a long ways.
Going on, the law is the law, and if we grant you partial termination, we're relieving you of the tax burden. And I think that that's highly unfair to the township residents.
It's what?
Highly unfair to the township residents that we do that we relieve the tax burden from you. You said earlier in your conversation that you were willing to pay the back taxes and the interest on that.
I expected to have to.
Okay, so you're willing to pay the back taxes and interest on it. I don't see how we can move forward relieving them. I think that if we do anything at all, we have to have legal come up with the necessary contracts and agreements that says that if we do relieve this, that you will pay all the back taxes and interest.
Or,
Or otherwise, what's our benefit to relieve it?
or
There is none.
The other alternative is, as I see it, is you deny the request.
Yep.
They have the ability to tomorrow morning walk in with an application to remove all the easements, the whole easement.
Correct.
Doesn't stop them from then turning around and applying for another easement for the 60-plus acres.
Correct.
Administratively, I'd say you're asking for a nightmare, just to go through this. You've just heard her complain about the administration. Why would I do that? Let me point out one thing, and I don't know if this matters or not, but I believe you have the option of asking for the taxes or not, because you have, the local municipality has the right to request the back taxes or not. And that was an overall thing. Then the part about asking for it to be relieved because of public interest, that was the key to making the back taxes go away.
But that's how
But
you
I think
submitted
I
it.
think you have a right as a board, just as you did back in 2008, to make the rule state what you want it to state. In other
Thank
words,
you.
you can override this because they give you options to waive, and they say that's in your hands, so.
But you haven't said that you'd be willing to pay those back taxes. You only said that you expected to pay those back taxes.
Okay. So are you asking me to say I'm willing to, and then you would do something or not?
I think that before we granted it, you would have to be willing to say that and pay those, and we'd have to have a legal agreement drawn up. But I agree with Mark that you should withdraw it and then reapply for the new.
That's,
I was against this back when you did it last year because it was transparent, in my opinion, what you were doing. You said it basically tonight that you have had many people look at the property, but none of them are willing to buy it because of the local space easement. So
so I'm asking to have it removed.
you're asking to have it removed.
You have the right to do that.
We do,
You can specify any requirements you want.
not necessarily because your application says in the public interest.
So, following the state law, we can't
Correct.
take action in that sense for that purpose.
Could they reapply this without the public interest bit in it?
I don't have the answer on that. That's shooting from the hip.
Well,
See, I'm looking at the sample resolution. It says, whereas the Township County Board has reviewed this request and determined that the release is in the public interest and meets one or more of conditions of 36, 111A, 1BI of Part 361 of the Natural Resources Environmental Protection Act, et cetera. So I don't see this sample release, or sample resolution, giving us the ability to say anything other than in the public interest. You know, it doesn't say any place where I can see that we can release this, but not state that it's not in the public interest. So, I mean, that's the legal question that I don't have an answer to.
they give you one, I have copies of some of the paragraphs here, the 36-111A that you just referenced there, the B1, or BI, I guess it is, B1, Those specify, that is for farmland, public body for public use, if it's been zoned in commercial or industrial. And in her report, she discounts that, it's not true, but Part 2 says, in determining public interest under subsection 1B, the governing body shall consider the following, all of the following. And number 1 is the long-term effect of the relinquishment upon the preservation and enhancement of agriculture in the surrounding area, including any non-farm encroachment upon other agricultural operations. So there is no other encroachment. Letter B is any other reasonable and prudent site alternatives to the farmland to be relinquished. So technically, it's open space designation, but it's farmland and open space. So that, in my mind, that was one of the factors that I was considering, is that any other reasonable and prudent site alternatives. So you basically have a reasonable and prudent site alternative if you relinquish this, because you can immediately allow it to be developed per the master plan, and the township will benefit greatly. As a matter of fact, day one, I'm just saying, there's a reasonable and prudent.
Still haven't answered the question.
Any infrastructure charges and costs will result, okay, that doesn't affect, okay, so the one paragraph there. So the answer is, if you would do it, and I've suggested that you can, not to tell you what to do, but you can make your motion be with the exception that the ad valorem taxes
Your
recapture
application,
can be made.
your application says in the public interest. I
Right.
think the best thing for you to do, in my opinion, is that you withdraw this application, you resubmit it for some other reason other than public interest.
I am going to look to our township attorney. What's your thoughts?
I'm trying to read this very long act very quickly.
Good luck.
It's a lot to it.
It's a lot, because there's a lot of subparts and super subparts, and,
I just don't think that we can give an accurate answer this evening.
yeah, I'm gonna have to take some time to read through it.
I think that we have to look at this, and even if we look at it in the public interest, we'd have to have an agreement from the applicant that they're willing to pay all the back taxes and interest that we're entitled. And if they're
Wouldn't
not
that go
willing to-
into your consideration of public interest? If
But
you were
not
to-
by the law.
Not by the law, following the law, and you sat on this board, Roland, for a great number of years, and following the law is what we're supposed to do. So I think what we need to do is let legal counsel research this and come back with an answer and options that we can move forward in a way that's going to be fair to the township residents and fair to you.
Early termination of all or part of the farmland.
I don't want to make a motion.
Says, public interest is served by the release.
Postpone?
Are you saying you can't offer the release of this based on public interest?
I don't know the answer to that, and nor do you.
I did, I answered
Well,
the question.
You're not a lawyer.
I gave the request. It said, in the application, it says,
I'm
provide,
going to make a motion.
let me see,
Christie,
here's the wording,
what thing I
provide,
can say here,
provide documentation of public interest.
okay, Christina has worked with Stephanie quite extensively on this too, so we'll need to put our heads together.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw Stephanie's name on the easement from last year, so.
All right, didn't mean to cut you off, Ron, but we had a conversation up here.
It's okay.
Michael, what do you want to do?
I think the only prudent thing to do is to postpone this until we get the legal opinions on what we can and can't do.
Can I ask you something? Did Christina have conversations with the attorney to put this together?
I don't know the answer to that again. And shooting from the hip, I'm not going to answer that.
I did not talk to her,
Okay.
and I can say that.
So I
You're-
still think, and I will make that motion to postpone this until legal counsel tells us what our rights are or not. And if it has to be under public interest, that the applicant agrees to pay all back taxes and interest.
Is that your motion?
That is my motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and we have support. Motion, postpone is the same as table.
It's not a table because it would have to come back.
No,
to
but
next
it's the
meeting.
same as table,
Yes.
there's no discussion on that motion.
Yes.
So roll call, please.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion's approved, it is postponed, and we will get some answers. Thank you, Roland.
What's the next step for me? Wait to hear from you?
What's that?
Is the next step for me to wait to hear from you?
What I would do, yeah, let's let our attorneys talk it over with Christina, see what can be worked out, and then we will be back with you
Quickly.
quickly,
Time frame, roughly?
as fast as we can. We didn't, that was why I wanted to get you on this meeting tonight.
I appreciate
because
it.
I figured there was a timeline that we had to take this up.
I appreciate it. We haven't followed the timeline too good so far, but I appreciate what you're saying. You know, it's taken
Okay.
a long time.
Thank you.
Have a nice night, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would suggest right now we take a 5-minute break.
Sorry, guys, 5-minute break.
5-minute break or 10-minute break?
5-minute work for me. I
5-minute
gotta
break.
go get a new pen. I ran
Okay,
out of ink.
we're recessed for 5 minutes. Okay, yes. Discussion. Giving me some trouble. Okay, there it is. Okay, moving on in the agenda, we have the final PUD approval, Dove Lake Residential Planned Unit Development, parcel number 4716-13200, 017, zoned RE Residential Estates, 108.51 acres. Gentlemen, if you'd come up, gentlemen and ma'am.
We got a folder.
Bring next chair here. We'll go ahead and have you give us your presentation. I got to pull it up a little bit here differently. For some reason, I can't pull up two PDFs at the same time. So with that, evening, and if you could, for the record, please let us know who's here.
Good evening, Board. My name is Michelle Spencer. I am with Powell Engineering. I am the engineer on this job. I have been with the developer. I was hired back in 2019. We came before the Planning Commission in 2020 with this exact same layout. As you see here, nothing has changed. Lots are the same, number of lots are the same. We provided all of our due diligence from the beginning. We did a parallel plan showing what we would be able to get on this piece of property with a standard development meeting all aspects of the code. And we provided that. We were able to get 37 lots, and therefore we requested a special plan unit development for 37 lots, all giving them lakefront access as a cluster and saving 70% of the property as open space. The properties, the sites have not changed. When we originally started this, the parcel splits along 12 Mile Road and in Dixboro were they were parceled lots, 2 acres each, as this one was supposed to be, and they had no buildings on them. We did go through and get all of the required approvals. We met multiple times. We came before the Planning Commission and the Township Board, and we received PUD approval in 2021 for this development. The lot sizes have not changed. None of the changes. The one change that was made, and the reason that the Planning Commission recommended denial, was because the developer was looking for a 40% lot density on each of the lots, and the ordinance only allows 25%, so he has therefore scaled back and provided a 25% maximum coverage. All of the plans and details have been changed to make that apparent on the plan. However, we have done everything per the ordinance and per the direction of the Planning Commission and Township Board, and are looking for final PUD approval from the construction drawings that have been completed.
Good evening, Board. My name is Tom Schroeder. I'm the developer. Felt a little bit uncomfortable with a lot of the disparaging comments from my neighbors that had built their homes, with a couple that are here, which is all represents the only ones there. But as I returned into the office here, each one of them, including Matt Rupert and his wife, everyone was 100% knowing that this was exact development before they bought their lot. Now, of course, they're conveniently, well, not remembering the facts. But each one of them, at their, they signed, the undersigned hereby acknowledges the future planned development. The husband and wife, each one of these folks, the husband and wife, signed these forms, which I'll turn.
Can I stop you for a second?
Sure.
I'll probably get in trouble with your attorney and mine. The disparaging comments about, we can do without that. They have a right to say what they want to say, just like you have that right. So if we could keep it to that, please.
Okay, I think.
No, I don't mind
personally
that.
attacked, I think,
mean,
which
you
I
know,
felt personal.
You know where I'm going is, you know.
I know, that's not what we're here for.
Everybody should treat everybody with respect, so, okay?
Well, I just want to bring up the point that the husband and wife, before they bought their lot, each one of them did sign, fully acknowledging. So to hear that they didn't know about it, and the boat ramp is on this, so this is where the boat ramp comes from. I've been, I think, kindness out of my heart, I've made a temporary boat ramp I've been allowing everyone to use on my personal private property that I'm paying taxes for. But the permanent boat launch is right on here, and as I turned into the office, we have that in the new PUD, the provision for them to use this boat, the new boat launch. But that was kind of, but anyway, as far as any other questions on this, we have the exact same plan as what was approved, the same coverage as what was already approved. I think last time we were here, as Michelle said, we got nothing but compliments from you guys about what a great job we've done in following all the ordinances to get to the approval stage, and that we had done that very good right away. In fact, Deborah was very complimentary of this. So we're here for the final approval tonight.
Okay. So nothing has changed from the original approval PUD.
That's right.
The preliminary.
Preliminary PUD, that's correct.
Okay.
And you are correct. I will say that many times we've seen PUDs come through and we've seen parallel plans. And many times we've looked at the parallel plans and we kind of have to say, oh, yeah, really. But this one, and I think I'm probably the one that made the statement, this PUD, preliminary PUD came in through clean. And I think that was the word I used. Clean. We didn't have a whole lot of comments because as the zone, you can build 34. PUD 34 with the clustering option, which is allowable under the ordinance. And there is a lot of reason for that. It's, again, trying to, in developments that have come through, and I'll call them cookie cutter developments where, every inch of land is ate up by either a half acre or some smaller parcel. This allows for preservation of some open space, which we just spent a lot of time talking about. But, this did come through fairly clean. One of the things, though, that we were very insistent on when we had the preliminary PUD is go, cross your Ts, dot your Is, get your approvals, have everything clean when it comes back to the board. And I think we all have a lot of questions and comments. I know I got a ton of them. So I don't think it's clean yet for final PUD approval. But I think all of us need to go through those comments. I don't know, Michael, was it in the packet, Larry Marshall's 3 pages?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
In the board packet, there was
3 pages.
3 pages of comments from Larry Marshall from the Planning Commission. I can tell you for a fact, one of the reasons why, this may come across wrong, but I hope not. One of the reasons why I recognized Larry Marshall and recommended appointing him to the Planning Commission, because Larry Marshall is an individual that he doesn't miss anything. He has a particular attention to detail. Talent for detail.
Talent.
I've often said as a joke, I sure wouldn't want him auditing my taxes. He is good. He picks up everything. And as I went through his 3 pages, there's a lot of things that need to be addressed. And I went through and highlighted some of my points. But before I get into my laundry list, I'd like to see what the board members have, comments and questions that they have.
I will say from a planning commission standpoint, we've gone over the development several times, and it was disappointing to when they came for final approval that it had changed from 25 to 40%, with the excuse, or the reasoning that that's what they do at Hidden Lake, even though we had said that doesn't apply here. I was also disappointed that even at the other meetings that we had pointed out a series of what I will call administrative blueprint corrections, north being north and south being south on the blueprints, things like that. And Larry did a really yeoman's job of picking out all the inconsistencies in the presentation, and we asked them to go back and correct those. And they appear still not to be corrected, based on Larry's list that he sent us. So that's my concern. You've met the requirements. You cut it back from 40, which I don't know why you did that, but that's water under the bridge at this point. But we have been through, in 25 years of being on the planning commission, and we have done conditional approvals and things like that before. And it seems like every time that we do that, we have a very difficult time getting the conditions finished up prior to when things are going, even to the point where we're involved in litigation and things like that years later after development has already been started. So I'm reluctant to go further until we have everything cleaned up and there are no more errors.
I can make a quick comment? At the, shall I
See,
wait?
Supervisor.
Maybe they want to have them do them all at one time.
Yeah, they were sent separately.
What's that?
They were sent separately.
Okay, you want me to go make copies of them? Did you see the comments from Larry Marshall?
I did not.
Mike, we
No,
need-
that's,
I'll go make copies.
unfortunately, when the planning commission denied it, it was solely based on it changing from 25% to 40%.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
So, we made that change back to meet that plan, and I feel a little bit blindsided because I went through with a fine tooth comb, the engineers went through, every single item that they gave me was just change text location or shift this. It was not any,
When I look at Larry's, and again, that's why I'm asking the question, because I thought it was in the board packet. It was set separately.
And I missed it.
Huh?
I missed it.
You did? Well, okay, we all need, it's not fair to you to not have that list in front of you. A lot of it, as I look at it, is, I'll use the word ticky-tack. You know, this portion is in conflict with the master deed, or this portion of the master deed is in conflict with the PUD agreement. So it's those type of things. It's not, it's wording structure between the master deed, the bylaws, and the PUD agreement. And as I'm looking through here, and I know it's kind of the chicken and the egg, which comes first, the PUD agreement, but it's almost impossible to have the PUD agreement until you have an approval so that you know what you're structuring the PUD agreement on. So I do struggle with that. So, I mean, at some point, and I'm trying to find the PUD agreement here. Come on.
If I could say on, shall I wait? When we were here before, Rick Minor absolutely said he has very, very thoroughly gone through these engineering drawings, super thoroughly for a long time. He says, we are 100% satisfied as far as the right to the left and the north and the south. I mean, he was very, very,
they're not actually talking about the
That's-
construction drawings. They're
No.
talking about the master deed and bylaws, the PUD agreement.
Which I
And those are done by attorneys.
Right.
Yeah, well,
That's my point here.
If I may, Roger Myers from Myers & Myers Law Firm in Howell, legal counsel for the applicant. So I was engaged before the last planning commission meeting because this issue came up about whether there was a need to submit the master deed, including the bylaws, which are Exhibit A to the master deed, and the Exhibit B drawings, which have to be the Exhibit B to the recorded master deed, as well as the extent to which the PUD agreement was final. I told Mr. Schroeder that in my experience, It's premature at this point to have those documents finalized. It's actually possible to have the Exhibit B drawings completed, because the Exhibit B drawings can't even be completed until there's a final approval and a final plan. So it's, to Mr. St. Charles' point, the chicken and egg, I mean, it's a legal impossibility to have the Exhibit B drawings. Similarly, obviously, the PUD agreement is impacted by what's ultimately approved. I reached out to Carol Rosati when I was retained by Mr. Schroeder, because I wanted to get her feedback on these very issues. I sent an email to Carol. She responded back to me. I brought the email with me from her. She indicated she was retiring, which I didn't know at the time. And she copied Ms. Kolb on the email. And I'll read. Hi, Roger. I'm retiring. With respect to your question, the master deed and bylaws do not have to be complete for the planning commission meeting. However, they must be reviewed and approved by our firm before they can be recorded. You will have to request a deviation from the planning commission. The deviation she's referring to is the increase from 25% to 40%, which I can talk about in a minute as well. I don't know whether they will look upon that favorably. No need to amend the PUD agreement until the planning commission and later the board approve the plans. Final just needs to be done by the time the final decision by the board. So, I wanted to reiterate that, even per, Ms. Rosati, and we had this conversation at the planning commission meeting, and I reiterated what she had, stated in her email, that it's premature for us to finalize the PUD agreement, the master deed, including the bylaws and the Exhibit B drawings, until we have the final approval. I mean, this project cannot, nor can any condominium development commence until there's a recorded master deed. And I think something that hasn't even been addressed is, I think what's also going to be required, Eagle, as they always do in these situations, they require specific language where you have a private system that requires that there's a disclaimer. I know that I've had developments, Mr. St. Charles, in this township, you're fully aware of it. That'll have to be addressed, but again, that's not something.
That's the next resolution.
So that's, I mean, I appreciate that that's something that will have to be addressed. Eagle will require it in the master deed, but it's not something that can be addressed at this juncture. And so I think it's important to keep that in perspective as we're moving through the process, that consistent with what Mr. Rosati was saying, and I'm happy to provide the board with her email to me. That's what we need to do. The other thing, if I may, real quick, on the context of the change from, or the proposed change from 25% to 40%, which is also what is referenced in Ms. Rosati's email. I disagree to a certain extent, Mr. Sedlak, about the justification being this is what we did in Hidden Lake. That's not necessarily accurate. What the genesis of that change was, the residents were complaining that they wanted to see higher dollar, higher value homes across the lake. They didn't want smaller homes. Obviously, these lots, per the PUD open space layout, they're going to be smaller than if what you'd have in a parallel plan. The primary way of achieving that in terms of building larger homes that have greater value, which is what they wanted, or they claimed they wanted, it was to increase the lot coverage ratio from 25% to 40%. That was the origin of that proposal. The reference to Hidden Lake, my understanding is Hidden Lake is like 75%. The reference to Hidden Lake at the Planning Commission meeting was not that we're trying to replicate Hidden Lake, just, to give you some perspective, Hidden Lake is 75%. We're just looking at going from 25 to 40. It wasn't that we're trying to replicate Hidden Lake. It was just really to give everyone a perspective of how those lot coverage ratios apply in practical terms. When that was clearly a subject of heartburn by the Planning Commission and was the sole basis on which the recommendation for denial was premised, Mr. Schroeder said, fine, we'll bring it back to 25%. The plans are revised, and that's what's been submitted. So I wanted to provide that broader context for how that evolved.
And I understand that, and again, 25 to 40, I'm fine with what we had approved originally. Going up to 40 is when I heard about that, I had a problem, because quite frankly, we have another subdivision that's just completed in this township that and I would be grasping at straws to get to the percentage of lot coverage, but I do know that the setbacks between the houses is pretty small.
Tight.
Very tight, and I hope never to see that again.
Fair enough.
That has created a lot of issues between neighbors. Also, and this is some of the things that I wanted to kind of get into tonight, during the build of that, created a lot of problems for emergency services being able to get in, especially when you had contractors parking on both sides of the road, and you've deviated from the road standards and built a smaller road. So these are some things that I think need to kind of be ironed out. I think there's a way to get where we need to get tonight, but I think we do have some things that need to be addressed for the PUD agreement.
The road is not smaller, the road meets the requirements, it's the right-of-way.
Right-of-way,
They
okay.
wanted a 66-foot right-of-way throughout the county. Standard right-of-way is only required to be 60 feet.
Okay.
The road itself is per all of the engineering requirements and standards.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. I had seen the 60-foot, and I just,
Yeah.
you know,
that's-
usually when you see 60-foot, it means the road shrunk down to.
Yeah, and remember, the other side is actually unlimited because there's 40 acres of open space that can't be touched, so.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I can get that.
And I see there's a lot of stuff about water softener effluent that
Yeah.
should absolutely not go into the storm sewer or into the sanitary sewer, that gets put into a trench or a hole that's dug with stone in it by itself. That is the
That-
only thing.
That's the point, and I've been very insistent on every single PUD that comes up.
That is on the septic field plans.
Okay.
That requirement is on the septic field plans.
That your water softener cannot be connected to the sanitary,
That is correct.
which is an illicit discharge according to Eagle
Yes,
and the county
and the
and
county.
Reno Township.
You are
So,
exactly right.
Okay, no water softener. Now, the question I have is, everybody in the township's gonna use water softeners, because guess what? We have
Well-
horrible water in Reno Township.
Yeah.
We all got it. You know, we're joking tonight that instead of staining stuff, I just used my garden hose, and I could stain anything brown. But with that being said, everybody's gonna use water softener, so, you know, you answered part of it. What we have done because it's gonna go out into a swale or in some kind of device, it's still gonna perk into the ground. So if you use sodium-based agents, you're still gonna get a sodium buildup. Well, what about, as we've done in many other communities, prohibit sodium and restrict it to potassium or RO?
I think that's reasonable. We can put that in with the master deed of the bylaws.
Yeah.
Yeah. See.
I mean, that's fine. I mean,
Potassium chloride in a water softener, even out on the ground, it's not a health hazard. It might be an aesthetic, but it's not a health hazard. And I think when we're talking about drinking water and drinking water wells, not only for your 37 homes, but the 17 homes in the area, the lake itself, sodium should be just, that's it, no dice.
I do have that in the deed restrictions for the other homes. I don't know if they follow it or not, but
Okay, well, I'm looking for, you know, deed restrictions, that's one thing. We can't enforce deed restrictions. I know that very well. But in the PUD agreement, that is something that we have. So I like to see it, and I defer to our attorney whether it's better to have it in the master deed restrictions, and the PUD, all of them, or what gives us the more teeth.
For the township to enforce it, definitely in the PUD agreement.
So that is one of the issues that Larry brought it up, I've brought it up, so I'm thinking that that's one of my big concerns. And again, I don't want to really hog everything here, because I know board members have some comments. We heard, and I consistently in all of my notes and going through this, what I've heard it tonight, and I've got it in my notes, boat ramp.
Boat ramp?
Boat ramp. Okay, the questions I have, when is it going in?
when the new development is, It's part of the new development.
Phase one, phase two?
Phase
Is it
one.
the
Phase-
last
no,
part?
phase
Part
one.
of phase one, it's been permitted through Eagle, and it is part of phase one. It is shown on multiple of the construction sheets where phase one is, and everything within phase one is shown and encompassed on the plans.
Okay,
on the
so-
construction plans.
If it's going in phase one, it's gonna be one of the first things developed, and I guess, my question was gonna be, is if it's going in phase two or some later phases, who's gonna put the escrow to make sure it goes in? So obviously, it's going in up front.
Right.
Okay.
So then, can I interrupt for just one quick question?
Yeah.
Will the residents, the other residents, have unfettered access to that boat ramp?
I have that addressed right in here. I mean, they have to follow the rule. Everyone will have to follow the rules.
Of course.
Yeah, but absolutely, yes, right here in
There will
the,
be no restrictions to their use other than the rules.
correct. Well, no, they'll need to, a portion amount of, well, it's right here in writing, a portion amount of the fees for maintenance and cost for it. So like everyone else, they'll be equal to everyone else, yes.
Okay.
That was the key, and then I was gonna ask that, will all riparian owners of Dove Lake have the same rights, rules covering the use of the boat ramp? I don't wanna see
Of the
the
rope boat ramp,
17
yes.
homes have separate rules and regulations than the 37. That's not gonna work.
I understand.
So,
Is that
for
way
the
it's gonna be,
record,
though?
that's.
It's already in, absolutely, right here in writing, yeah,
Everybody has the same access, same rules?
absolutely.
Okay, that's.
In phase one.
In phase one, yes, yes.
You got all that, Kelly? Okay.
Okay, they have one other thing, and again, this might be a little pointed. Lot coverage, 25% maximum.
It's on the plan, it's on sheet one, and it even gives the amount of square footage based on the lot area.
I went through and I calculated all them out, and it comes out. So I went through every one of them. Tom, 25% means 25%, not 25.1, correct?
You know, I even have, I have a number.
Tom, I'm asking a question.
Yes, absolutely, I understand. I've measured one out already, a 3,000 square foot home with a three-car garage, like I have on the other side of the lake. And it actually came out at 18% coverage on lot 11, frankly. So I've got room, we're nice. I'm like I said, two-story, you have less lot coverage, but you get more square footage. So there's room for a plenty adequate home. Most of these folks are,
That can be done on all of the plot plans. When the plot plans are done, it should absolutely show that it meets all of the requirements of the approved plans.
Should or will?
No, it will.
Put that right on there,
Yeah.
yeah.
All the plot
I'm trying
plans
to get on
as
the
those.
record
are
of the
important.
Yes,
specifics.
absolutely.
Words are important.
I say should because I'm not guaranteed that I will be the one doing all of the plot plans. Mine will definitely.
but Al back there can keep an eye on
Well,
that.
I've already talked to Al about this too, so.
Yeah, we can tell the surveyor, make sure you put that on there, that's something that'll be looked at.
One of the things, and again, I promise I'm gonna stop here in a minute. The biggest thing that I have been keying on is the wastewater. And when I first heard the type of system that you were gonna have here with the individual septic tanks on the lots, the township currently has one community wastewater, one community septic field. And quite frankly, we have one too many.
And this is wastewater and solids or just wastewater?
Wastewater, it's a septic field, common septic field.
Okay, that's not what I have.
I
This is-
get it.
yeah.
You know,
I get it.
big
but-
difference, yeah.
But it's still, you have septic fields going to a field. And
Fluid's going to a field in a sand and gravel pit with a bottomless amount of sand.
I get it.
All right.
Tom, you know I've been in the sand and gravel business 50 years, so I know that site very well.
Oh, good.
But I had some concerns because if we have individual septic tanks on 37 homes, who's pumping the tanks and who's going to be responsible?
Each homeowner.
The homeowners,
That's-
based on the septic field plans, the homeowner is completely required to have their tanks pumped as part of the system. They'll have to have their
Wow.
primary tank pumped every 2 years, their secondary pumping tank pumped minimum every 4 years.
Is-
It's all on the septic field plan. And then it goes from there, it's pressure dosed to a treatment plant that is like a single-family home wastewater treatment plant. But for the whole entire development, it's all permitted and it's gotta be constantly maintained. Every 4 months, somebody's gotta be coming out to check it, pull samples, verify it's doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Okay, that's a little bit different than what I got from a certified operator today. That the certified operator would be the one to make sure that each one of them tanks were emptied.
No, that should be on the homeowners, just like a standard septic field is on the homeowners, that should be on the homeowners. And they will absolutely, I would say that that should just be on a standard system where somebody comes in and every single homeowner is responsible to have their tanks pumped when they're there.
Who's gonna enforce that?
Right.
The HOA should be enforcing it, because the HOA is gonna be fully responsible for the septic field.
Okay, we have another wastewater treatment plant in Green Oak Township's run by an HOA, and they're in deep problems right now with Eagle, because homeowner HOAs tend to run a wastewater treatment plant and a water facility based on how many pennies they have in their pocket, not what's required. I got a real problem with that.
I think we require the homeowners to empty their tanks every so often. I have that personally in my own house. I have a tank by my own house. It depends on how many people live in the house, children, and how much, but I have that personally, and then my field is out by 12 miles, so it's probably 400 or 500 feet away, just for the fluid zone.
There is a safety factor built into the tanks at people's homes.
Filters?
First of all, there is required to be a commercial grade filter that handles up to 2,500 gallons per day. Second of all, the pump, it's not a sewage pump, it's an effluent pump, meaning that it will clog and not pass any sewage, meaning that that homeowner doesn't have access to sanitary until they get that thing fixed and maintain it properly. So we did actually think about a lot of these things, because I designed probably 3,000 septic systems in my days, and that was all thought out before we did it, because I know that this is an issue.
Well, and this is why I'm focusing in on this, because the one common septic system that I'm referring to was poorly designed initially by the developer. And I thought we got it by court order, but I found out in some files this last week that no, the township agreed to take it over in 1985. They were idiots, but,
Yeah.
okay. Besides that, we're now faced with well over $1 million to replace the field, to install free treatment,
Let's see.
install additional storage. No, we gotta spread that cost over 20 years on 24 homes. It's about $30,000 a home. So again, that's why in the PUD agreement and other documents, including the resolution I have, we have no interest in running it, operating it, owning it. And we can't saddle future boards with something like that.
Yeah.
I understand the process a little bit more that you're doing now, and I'm a little more comfortable with it because of who I have talked to and the fact that you are permitted through Eagle on this.
Yes, we are.
But that is an issue that I think is concerning, and more so, and I'm glad to hear tonight that you're gonna prohibit sodium, because it's, no matter how you cut it, it's a septic field, it's groundwater, and I know what happens when you get sodium in a groundwater sewer treatment plant or a a common septic system.
It kills the anaerobic bacteria and it doesn't work properly.
Yeah. One of the other issues, and the last point I'll make on that, I would like to see it within the PUD documents that your certified operator does provide periodically, whether it's every 6 months or it's whatever timeline that you're required to pull sodium samples from your system, to provide that information to the township. This is no different than what we did with Woodland Ridge Mobile Home Park. When they do their sampling, they send it to us.
Yes, so Eagle does require the ongoing certified operator maintenance. When they pull that, we can add that to the restrictions that is also provided to the township.
Okay.
Kelly?
I will get off my soapbox here.
No, it's okay. Kelly, you got that too? Yeah. Okay.
Let's see.
So what I'm hearing is that all of the syntax and commas and things of that nature will all be addressed in the master deed and the PUD agreement prior to this thing being locked down. That'll be handled at the legal level, post-approval. And what tool do we have in our toolbox?
You can deny as-built and C of Os, meaning that nobody can enter and live in the dwellings until everything is per your satisfaction on the PUD.
Well,
and
see, that's
bylaws.
my concern right there. I would think that before we start issuing building permits, that the agreements should be finalized.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely, the
I mean,
agreements.
you can't even, until the master deed is recorded with the registered deeds, you can't even, they won't even issue a land use permit or a building permit. I mean, the condominium doesn't even exist until the master deed is recorded.
So all these verbiage issues and all the things that Larry pointed out
Right.
will be handled prior to any building permits being issued.
Absolutely.
And frankly, I mean, I think you could even condition the township signing, review and approval of the master deed be subject to the signing of the PUD agreement. So it ensures the PUD agreement is signed first before the master deed is recorded. I mean, that would ensure that you'd be protected.
I think that if we approve this tonight, that must be in the motion as well.
Yeah. See, Roger, this is one of my problems here, and again, it's the chicken and the egg, just like I put up there on the screen, is I'm going through the PUD agreement, now, which I granted, this was a PUD agreement that was put together in '21, but as I go through it, there is so much red in this, it's bleeding all over the place, so there's a lot of work that still needs to be done to tidy this up.
I've only, the copy I have, Mark, only has 7 changes. I don't have any red, like, marked up.
I've got it up there, so,
I think that's the old one.
that's the old one, that's what we got in our packet, so.
So you're
Unless there's
saying
a,
there's a different one now?
I'm just looking from Larry Marshall's notes on what his changes to the PUD agreement, that's what I was referring to.
I don't disagree with that, but when I look at this, there's a lot of stuff in here that I think, yeah, Larry's right, but there's a lot of blanks that still have to be filled in. And we added some stuff tonight about the sodium and stuff like
Yeah.
that, so. I guess one of the other things, and again, I keep promising to stop. We all remember Willow Woods 1 and 2. Nice development. And we really prided ourselves on one really I would call it leading in this area, stormwater protection, stormwater management. Well, it was a great plan, and the PUD benefit for the PUD status for Willow Woods 1, Willow Woods 2, and Green Oak Crossing was we were gonna stop flooding going into Hamburg Township. We approved that final PUD plan, and we all were thumping ourselves on the chest. It went to final engineering, and lo and behold, Eagle pulled out the fourth control structure, which has caused flooding on neighboring properties. So that's why we want to see Ts crossed and Is dotted here at the end, and not push it off. Yeah, and we've learned our lessons from that.
True enough.
So, okay, I'm done talking. I've done enough. Tracy, you have comments?
I think most of my concerns were addressed here. Now I'm just wondering if we're looking at the same document as far as the PUD.
I was looking at the notes from Larry.
He's looking at the notes from.
Yeah, I was looking at the notes that were given to me tonight of the concerns, yeah.
And then my only other thing was just to, once again, look at this that I received today, was the request for denial was due to the proposed 40%.
Can I answer to that question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so all of these other issues were there. All of the, no, not in the motion.
Oh, okay.
All of the other issues were there. And they were asked to clean these up earlier. And I know that because I was at the meetings.
Okay.
That said, it was such a blatant change
Right, I understand that.
from 25 to 40% that there was no point in discussing it at all. It's going to be denied based on that alone.
Yeah, that was the showstopper.
It's just like, all this other stuff is superfluous
Okay.
to the 40%.
Okay.
Because I made the motion,
Yep.
you know, and as soon as that 40% came in, it was like, yeah, no. And we denied it based on that. All of this was there before and still remains.
Mark, I've got one issue with the Article 11, Section 7, page 31. The developer may remove and replace any or all directors at any time. As being a resident of Hidden Lake, the turmoil that we went through over there with the developer using too many votes and putting favorite people into positions, I think caused problems for a while. And I don't really think that's too much of a democratic process right there.
It does have.
That's a fair point, and I think, again, we heard one comment here tonight, which I have kind of circled. The comment about the homeowners association for the 17 has not been executed yet?
I'd like to answer that. They have every opportunity. I did all the legal work. I have recorded everything. They have 100% right to start it whenever they want. So for them to sit there and point the finger at me is unjustifiable. They can do whenever they want. I mean, there's what, 15, or there's 13, there's 12 of them and one of me. They can do anytime they want.
Tom, I'm hearing a disconnect here someplace, because I see a lot of people shaking their heads, and you're saying they can do it. So how do they do
They're
it?
the homeowners, right?
Okay, how do they do it today?
There's 12 of them. They can do it anytime they want. They have a meeting, they start to, I've done the legal expensive work for them, so they're welcome, and they can start it anytime they want. I did try to get it started, but the attorney never followed through for me, frankly. Mr. McDonald, they're out of Northville, but, so I sent him the retainer and everything, but they actually sent around a group and they collected some money. They could start it anytime. It's not, it was incumbent on me to start it. They could start it without me. They didn't need me.
May I ask, just as a quick, Mr. Ranko, what was the provision that you were referencing in there about the developer being able to remove? What was it?
31?
The developer could remove any and all board members at his own.
Right, but I'm looking at that. What was the article? You said it was Article 11, Section.
Article 11, Section 7, page 31.
He's looking at what's on the screen. Do you have that
Oh,
in your
see,
hand
see,
possession?
I've got an update. This is the updated version that was submitted to the township back in
It
June.
was like, yeah, it was the same time that we submitted the
It is
Exhibit
on these notes on page 2, towards the bottom.
Oh,
just
he's
above
talking, he's not
PUD.
talking Larry's notes now, he's talking the actual master deed
Right.
where he originally had that at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's in the version that's been submitted since
Well,
then.
then we've got a real mess up over here because everything seems to be.
Well,
Out
I
of
still
place.
think it goes back, and I've explained this before, we can't finalize this until there's a final if there's a final approval. I mean, that's really,
No question about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem.
Nobody's disputing that.
Yeah.
However, and I agree with Tracy totally on this, I don't think all of us, and as clerk, I'm supposed to distribute the board packet that's given to me, which, when it's submitted to me, that's what I give out, with the exception of Larry's, which I miss, on my apologies. So, I have concerns, and obviously some of the other board members do at this point, that we need a unified set of documents to review. Whether or not they're the final documents for the PUD and the master deed, but I think what we need to have to see and evaluate is the latest and greatest.
And I agree with,
Which would then
Things
give
that-
you an
right.
opportunity to address some of the issues that are there, to fill in the chloride and the non-chloride, and kind of get the paperwork in its latest configuration. I would be significantly more comfortable with that, because I've heard too many disconnects, as Mark has said tonight, about what information we have, don't have, what's really in there, what's not in there. I'm hearing a huge disconnect on the homeowners association for the 12. Now, you said you talked to an attorney in Northville, and he hasn't provided you, hasn't followed through.
I send them everyone's information to start that, but at any time now, they collected money from everyone to start their own association.
Okay,
They're-
but do they have that document? Do
Yeah.
they have
They
that
do,
document?
yeah. Well, it was
You have that
recorded,
document?
recorded with the Livingston
You
County.
don't have that
We
document?
don't have the bylaws, he's never turned the bylaws over. for
Okay.
the actual
Have you?
And our lawyer, what we collected.
Bylaws, it's not, those are parcel owners, those are not homeowner associations, they're
Yeah.
parcel owners, it's not the same. This is a PUD, those are parcel owners, it's not the same.
that-
They can start a
Okay,
homeowner
we're
whenever they
getting-
want.
Okay, so, yeah,
We're
time
getting
out.
out of hand here. They raised the question and the concern. You're the developer, you built the 17 homes, right?
12.
12.
There are 13 on the lake, well, actually, there's only 12 right now, one empty lot, but they're parcels, yes, I did build their homes, yes.
Tom, okay, 12, 13, 17, I don't care. You developed and built the parcels that under the typical land division
Yeah,
parcels, meets and bounds.
Yes.
Okay, so you did that, and they were promised a homeowners association.
Well, wait a minute, who said that? No, they came up with that just a
Okay,
couple
so-
months ago, they
okay,
sent me a
so
letter.
then- Okay, so what's stopping that from being done? It's a simple question. Reason
I'm
I'm
not
asking
stopping
that
it.
question is because these folks here and your new folks are all gonna be neighbors, and somehow they gotta get along. And this
So
ain't,
is there going to be two associations?
But they may or may not, if they want to have associations, they're 100% willing to and can have one on their own. Now, here, the PUD, it's mandated, that's different, it's a
Okay.
total different
All
law.
right,
This is
okay.
mandated
Okay.
law, that
That-
is
that
not,
has
that's
a lot
on
of
their own.
clarity.
It's like everyone on 12 Mile deciding, hey, we want to have a homeowner association. Okay, have one, and they all agree to the same rules. Well, here, they can all agree, they're all parcel owners.
so,
The deed restricts.
I didn't mandate that they have a homeowner
okay,
association.
Tricia?
so I just need some clarity on all this from what's in the PUD, and you're talking about how the homeowners have to run the HOA, and that they're gonna have to take care of the, each homeowner has to do the, doing their pumping of their fields.
Tanks.
Are they also included in that group?
No, that group is
So
totally
they're
separate.
separate.
They're
I'm
separate.
trying to get the separation
They're
because
parcel owners.
they're promised so many things.
Well, they
under
say
this
that, which I think
POD.
they're untruths.
Okay.
It's very, very unusual for parcel lots to have an homeowners association. I am virtually right now building a house, so I don't have to be part of an HOA. So I'm sitting here confused as to why anybody would want to be part of an HOA, where other people can dictate whether you plant a tree in your yard, or whether you cut down a tree in your yard, or what color your house can be. That's very weird to me. So if they want an HOA, I don't know how you can expect a developer to provide an HOA for parcel lot.
Okay,
That's very
Build it.
odd.
I get that.
Yeah.
And not wanting that is not weird, because that's the subdivision I live in, and we don't want one.
Well, the other people that aren't here.
It's true.
This only represents a little bit of the people that are
I
here.
get it, so maybe it sounds like they've got some things to work out. I don't want that to cloud this, you know, and.
Correct.
Thank you.
And we're, shame on us for asking this question. But, okay, I'm trying to figure out how to get to a point here. Trish, do you have anything else?
Just that, hearing that there's obviously some of the things in these notes from Marshall that everyone does have in front of them now that have not been addressed in the PUD that need to be handled. I just, like you said, there's a lot of moving parts and some unknowns that in order for, if the homeowners here that are affected by this new development, and if this PUD passes, but everything's on there, I'm just not comfortable being able to make that kind of decision, like in favor of, there's just a lot that, I know they're gonna be affected by this new development, and I think the PUD items that are not clearly in here, and from the planning commission having their conversation, I just think that, too many things to.
Forgive my ignorance, but the master deed does not come back before the board, correct?
Typically not. It
No.
would be just through a legal review and probably engineers and planners.
Which, I totally understand that these aren't all going to be hammered out before we make approval, but I also don't like approving and then not having any say in whether or not it happens after the fact.
Normally, the PUD, the final PUD would come to the board for board approval.
The agreement, absolutely.
The agreement.
That is correct.
PUD agreement.
Yes.
So
Yes.
somehow you gotta get to the point that you can develop the PUD agreement.
Yeah.
And, you know, and what I'm hearing tonight, Dan, do you have anything else?
No, there's, but it's.
I'm trying to
We
make
beat
sure.
the horse to death.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with that there's no,
Yeah.
maintenance agreement for the roads, there's no
There
maintenance.
actually is a maintenance
There
agreement.
is.
It has been approved, it has been revised, and it is fully legal.
That-
Is it
Yeah.
in the PUD?
That is in the packet.
Okay.
I saw it.
I'm looking at
Yeah.
the notes here. So, again, you know, getting to a point, I'm not hearing, you know, any problems with the PUD as it was preliminary approved in site plan arrangement. You know, you heard the concerns about the wastewater treatment. I think in concept,
There you go.
I don't think there's a problem with the conceptual moving forward, ironing, crossing the Ts and dotting the Is, and to get you back here to get the final. I don't see an issue with that. You know, if that is something that can be worked out, and it's something I'm throwing out there, but I want to be very clear. The items that we've discussed that need to be in the PUD, need to be concerned, the issues that I think are of extreme importance, at least in my opinion, is the boat dock, the boat launch, and the use that's usable by everybody and fairly to everybody. I think that's absolute key, because there's no way that you're gonna have neighbors all friendly when Tom is done, built, and gone and out. You gotta have the neighborhood be able to be all friends, so. Christine, what do you think? How do we get there?
Can we approve it conceptually with final approval based on the receiving of the revised
The
PUD?
PUD agreement,
Can we do that?
yes.
So I think that's, what I'm offering is a way that we get to a point that we can set down.
Yeah, so they know that
There we
their,
go.
their plan
Okay.
is set. We just need to work out.
The PUD, and we
the
come back then for the
agreement.
approval of the PUD agreement.
Right, and in between, we've got all of this laundry list of stuff here that we may have to set down, whether it's administratively, but hopefully between the attorneys
Yeah.
can take everything and put it into the agreements, the master deeds, bylaws, whatever it needs to be in, that offers a protection for everybody. That's what I'm trying to get to, is so that we get that document, because I want to get to a document that we can approve and we know is the final. It's not going to change someplace.
Yep.
Hang on a second.
Anybody else? Good, bad, indifferent? I mean,
I think he's trying to work out language of emotions.
all right, we'll give Mike a second here.
See what Mike comes up with.
Wow, this is one of our longest board meetings in
In ages.
ages, probably
In my
3 or 4
lifetime.
years.
In my lifetime.
We should get on the school board.
Conceptually.
No thanks.
Roger remembers some of our meetings till 1
Oh, yeah.
o'clock in the morning.
Those were fun.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't had any gray hair grow since then, Mark. In the last 25 years, I've had the same amount of gray hairs, but.
Well, I'm not gonna make that claim. I have a lot of gray hair. And a lot less hair too on the top. While Mike's working that out, I retired from one of my jobs and now I'm busier now here than I've ever been.
That's what you get.
You got it. Al keeps me busy back there.
I think I have a motion that'll work.
Okay, I'll ask the question. Thank you.
Starting by 15 years.
I think I got it.
All right,
Do you want me to try it?
do it. Try it,
Okay.
see what happens.
Well, somebody else has one. Somebody else have one? Okay. I make a motion to grant conceptual approval of the Dove Lake final PUD plan, subject to board approval of the PUD agreement and master deed.
Final PUD and master deed
Yes.
being worked out by the attorneys and township staff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you necessarily need it in the motion.
Okay.
Because the board will ultimately.
Did you get that, Kelly, the motion?
You need a second?
Yeah,
a second.
somebody needs to.
Yeah, somebody needs to support it if it's gonna be supported.
You will support it?
Okay, Dan supports it. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. Gentlemen, yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll get
Uh,
that taken
we
care
got a
of.
lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And again, when it comes back, I wanna see a clean one. Okay?
And Mr. Marshall has said several times that he will sit down with you and go through the agreement. All I can say is pack a lunch. Larry is very, very, very thorough. So if he gives his stamp of approval, you got mine.
Way more than your engineer did.
Pardon?
Way more than your engineer.
Well, I don't think that's an issue at tonight. Larry's.
No, I know, there
Larry's
was, yeah.
Larry will find whatever needs to be corrected.
Yep,
He's outstanding.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you.
And the
thank you.
Board, honorable board, yeah.
We're not done yet.
No, next item we have, and this relates, as Roger had just indicated about taking ownership, resolution 14/2025, Dove Lake Development Wastewater Facilities Resolution. I put this together because, as we all know, when there's a private system, Eagle will require a resolution similar to this denying taking ownership of the wastewater treatment plant and/or water facilities. So very simply, whereas the owner of the proposed wastewater facilities, Dove Lake Homeowners Association, shall be responsible for operation and maintenance of the wastewater collection and treatment facilities. Green Oak Charter Township does not desire nor will not be responsible for the proposed wastewater facilities serving the Dove Lake development. That it be therefore resolved that Green Oak Charter Township, as a local government agency of jurisdiction, shall not assume responsibility of the effective and continued operation and maintenance of the proposed sewage system if the owner in any way fails to perform its capacity. Now, with that said, it be further resolved that no provisions provided in the master deed and bylaws permit Green Oak Charter Township to assume operation and maintenance responsibility should the homeowners association fail to do so. And in the event that any other governmental agency required by law for Green Oak Charter Township to take over control and ownership of said system, All costs for such services shall be borne by the homeowners association benefiting the property. The reason I put it together that way is because there is some discussion whether, as I have been told, Eagle cannot force us to take over a wastewater treatment plant. And I've also been told, yes, they can. And I got into a real argument with the Assistant Attorney General over this during one meeting. And I asked her to provide me with the MCL, and I'm still waiting, and that's been about 3 years. So I'm worrying it either way. If we end up, somebody makes us take it over, all costs are gonna be borne by the users of the system. But right now, we're saying, no, we don't want it. So that's my resolution. It's up to the board if they want it or not.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 14, 2025, Dove Lake Development Wastewater Facilities.
Support.
Okay, discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes, resolution is adopted.
Very wise.
Thank you. Okay, with that discussion, is there any discussion items needed tonight? Hearing none, committee reports. Hope not. Okay, there's no executive session needed tonight, so we will open the last call to the public. Anyone wishing to address the township board at this time, please come up to the podium. And thank you for all being patient.
Very patient.
Rose Cook, McCabe Road, right across the street from the Hidden Lakes entrance, this one on McCabe Road. I have made numerous calls trying to find out who approved the street light. It went up about 4 months ago. So I couldn't get an answer, so I'm here to the board to plead, to say, hey, the leaves are falling off our trees. It's shining right in my bedroom. Can you turn the light down? Can you put a shield halfway on it? I mean, I think the street light was put up just so the people in the Hidden Lakes community could notice their back entrance on McCabe Road. I've lived there, been a resident of this place all my life. And that's all I want, is you turn the light down, relocate the light, do something so it's not shining in my bedroom.
So I missed the first part. This is the light at the entrance.
Yes.
Okay.
The second entrance, not the main entrance.
Thank you. We have to see if it meets the down shield requirements.
Yeah, we'll have
It's
to
in our
look.
ordinance.
Yeah, we'll have to look at it and see what the issue is, see if it meets the ordinance or does not meet the ordinance, but we'll take a look at that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, appreciate it. About how long before you're gonna take a look at this and cover up this light?
We'll put it up to our ordinance officer.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Within the next couple
Well,
of days.
I just don't want to come back and they're gonna say, well, it's shining, but yeah, they're not in my bedroom.
We'll have to take a look at it, and obviously, we have to look at it at night, so I have to work on a night that Lee is in, so we'll get to it.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you very much for your time.
thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board at the last call of the public? Yes, ma'am.
That would be HOA, right?
Sorry, I'm walking a little slow today. Lori Fleisner, 27035 North Dixboro. I just wanted to make comments as to why we would want an association. It's in the deed restrictions that Tom Schroeder wrote and filed with Livingston County 6/25 of 2019, of which I did give Green Oak a copy of our deed restrictions. So the money he says we've collected, there's 10 of us that have hired an attorney. He received a letter from me. I also gave that to the board. He received a letter from my attorney back in 2022 saying that he needed to turn the HOA over to us as per the deed restrictions. Article 2 requires him to establish the association known as Dove Lake Estate Homeowners Association, okay? And I've given the board copies of this in previous meetings, the Planning Commission Board in previous meetings. And the reason we want it is because according to this, Tom can add any parcels to R17 that he wants to until he turns that association over. Or he can change any of the rules, which he did. After we purchased the property in 19, he sent out a reinstatement and, of the rules that he recorded in 2021. So after I purchased the property and built the home with him and moved in November of 2020, he then changed the deed restrictions in 2021. Okay, and so this is why we want our HOA, because according to this, he retains control for the next 5 or 10 years if he doesn't turn it over to us. Now, our attorneys have, my attorney and our attorney, we now have hired one jointly, has said that because we've put him on notice, he can't change the deed restrictions or add any further parcels that he hasn't currently added. But these are the games that he plays. I mean, I can show you the locks. He wasn't letting us put our boats in the water, okay? And I guarantee he's saying we have access to that boat launch, but right now he's already told us, good luck getting your boat out of the water this winter. So, I mean, this is the person that you guys are dealing with that's gonna put in 37 more docks on a 50-acre lake. That's all I'm saying. And if you need copies, again, I'm more than willing to make copies and send them in. But he wrote the deed restrictions. This is all in there. So when his people say that, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Pardon?
Okay.
Would you not believe, or in my opinion, you know, because they're dealing with their deed restrictions, which is something we don't have control on, that they're on the right track by having their own joint attorney and taking this on against.
Yeah, because we can't control that.
Correct. You
Well,
know,
and he says, why don't we do it ourselves? Because it costs $8,000 to establish the bylaws that he's supposed to establish and turn over to us.
He's already done that.
No, he hasn't given us any bylaws.
Okay.
Karen.
You sent out a notice.
Stop.
Yeah, we're talking over each other.
Yeah.
so unlike the situation that was before the board tonight, where he's entering into an agreement and agreeing to do certain things that the township can then enforce if he doesn't.
Right.
It sounds like, you know, the east side of the lake was developed differently, and it was not a PUD.
It was a meets and bounds
Yeah,
development.
he just sold
so,
off
yeah.
parcels.
And you really can't call that a development. It was meets and bound parcels.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So, but they need to have their attorney handle this and
Yeah, it's
as aggressive as they need to.
It's a private civil matter.
Yeah. Okay.
That was the key factor right there. Okay.
Anyone else tonight wishing to address the township board at this time?
Can I
Yes, ma'am.
ask one more question? Because you said there won't be 2 HOAs. Well, technically, we're entitled to our own HOA, so there would be 2 HOAs on the same lake.
Does sound like that.
Especially if we hire our attorney, which we have. We've just been waiting for your guys' vote to see whether or not we take Tom to court over it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else tonight wishing to address the township board at the last call of the public? Yes, sir.
Question. Davis Dorsey, 27203 North Dixboro Road.
Can you say that again in front of the
Avis
microphone?
Dorsey, 27203 North Dixboro Road. I guess I wanted to speak on this treatment plant. You said Hidden Lake, which obviously he based this one off of it, or this new PUD that no one really likes anyways, and it doesn't seem like most people like Hidden Lake, including the lady with the new light. The water treatment plant there that's bothering them, it's some kind of a treatment plant, does something, I just know because they're talking about pumping sewage and getting generators and all kinds of things just to handle their wastewater, where we're a different system, we did our own septic, we maintain it, we handle it. I was casually walking through Florida a few months ago, and they had one of those nice pumping stations, and I don't know anything about them, because I grew up on sewer and didn't deal with it. And I walked by and went, what the heck, smells really bad, like wastewater. And it was because one of those sealed pipes coming out of the ground had a vent or whatever it was doing, and it smells. So then going back to the waste treatment plant or whatever that the Hidden Lake residents don't like, I'm gonna be on the other side of this lake. The wind always blows from the south. It's gonna blow all of their smelly crap right at us. And then we're gonna be dumping it in through a pumping system, generators when the power goes out, and going into a common septic, which again, if I remember from their little diagrams, ran by the lake. You guys just said you're gonna be hands-off, laissez-faire, not touching the thing with a 10-foot pole. We're not obligated to touch anything. Second, they have any issues and we're not part of their HOA, they're going to have backups, problems, a pipe break. Now the water's contaminated, not mentioning all the smells and everything else we're gonna have from it. So I just wanted to comment on the wastewater and all the other issues that this 37 little matchstick homes compared to what you just said, the field and parcels or whatever you claim to be, like, I don't know. We were here, we wanted it developed, we just wanted it not developed in whatever cluster PUD thing got approved during COVID when none of us knew about it and no one could be here to do anything about it. So, just wanted to voice that.
Thank you. Anyone else tonight wishing to address the Township Board at the last call of the public? Seeing no response, we will close the call to the public, and at this time we stand adjourned.